If you've been diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome, or PCOS, you know how overwhelming it can be, especially when it comes to figuring out what to eat. There's just so much conflicting advice out there. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise and get some real clarity based on what the science actually says. So let's get right to it. Can what you eat really make a difference in managing PCOS? Well, the evidence points to a huge yes, and maybe not for the reasons you think. Okay, so before we can find the solution, we really have to understand the problem, right? Let's take a quick look at what's actually going on in the body when you have PCOS. You see, PCOS isn't just one single thing. It's a really complex condition that affects a whole lot of women, and it touches everything from your metabolism to your hormones, and that complexity, that's what makes it so dang frustrating to manage. Okay, so a huge piece of this puzzle is inflammation. Turns out women with PCOS, no matter their weight, tend to have this higher level of chronic, low-grade inflammation. And that's not good because it basically just fuels all that hormonal chaos. And that inflammation, it leads right into another major problem: insulin resistance. I mean, check this out. Johns Hopkins Medicine says a whopping 50 to 75% of people with PCOS have this. It means your body is making insulin, but it just can't use it the right way to get sugar out of your blood and into your cells for energy. So you can see how this creates a kind of chain reaction. The inflammation and the insulin resistance, they can cause the ovaries to produce too many androgens, which are often called male hormones. And that's what messes with the menstrual cycle and causes so many of the classic PCOS symptoms. The main takeaway here is it's all connected. All right, so this brings us right back to diet. If inflammation and insulin are the real troublemakers, can changing what we eat actually make a difference? Let's look at one of the biggest assumptions out there. You've probably heard it a million times, right? The advice for PCOS is just eat less, exercise more, lose weight. It's super frustrating for so many people. But what if that's not the real story? Okay, now this is where things get really interesting. Check out this data from a study. Even though the women with PCOS had a higher BMI on average, get this, they were not eating more calories or walking significantly less than women without PCOS. This is huge. It basically tells us the problem isn't as simple as just eating too much. So if it's not about the amount of food, then what's going on? Well, that same study found the real clues. Women with PCOS were eating way less fiber and less magnesium. And these aren't just little details, you guys. These nutrients are directly tied to fighting insulin resistance and keeping hormones in balance. You see, this discovery totally opens the door for a new way of thinking. If the real bad guys are inflammation and poor nutrient quality, what happens when you create a diet specifically to fight them? Well, one study did exactly that. Researchers had women with PCOS try out an anti-inflammatory Mediterranean-style diet for just 3 months. They focused on things like whole foods, healthy fats, and lots of fiber. And the results? Honestly, they were dramatic. First off, they saw a 35% drop in C-reactive protein. Now that's just a fancy term for a key marker of inflammation in your body. This is proof that the diet was hitting one of those root causes we talked about. It was literally cooling down that internal fire. And get this, they also saw an average weight loss of 7%. And that's not just about fitting into your genes. Losing even a little bit of weight like that can make a massive difference in how your body handles insulin, tackling that resistance head on. But this next one might be the most powerful result of all. An incredible 63% of the women got their regular periods back, and 12% were actually able to get pregnant during just those 3 months. I mean, wow, that's a direct line between this way of eating and getting hormones back on track. Okay, so the science is clearly super promising, but what does this actually look like day to day? Let's get practical. Let's build a PCOS plate. All right, so these are the foods you want to lean into to embrace. This is the heart of that anti-inflammatory high-fiber diet. We're talking delicious, healthy fats from things like salmon, olive oil, nuts, and seeds, and tons of fiber from beans, whole grains, and veggies. These are the foods that are going to help stabilize your blood sugar, fight inflammation, and give you those key nutrients like magnesium. And on the other side of the coin, these are the foods you probably want to limit. You can think of them as being pro-inflammatory. Things like fried foods, processed meats, sugary sodas, and refined carbs like white bread, they can send your blood sugar on a roller coaster and just add fuel to that inflammation fire, pretty much working against everything you're trying to do.
So, what does a full day of eating actually look like? Is it boring? No way. Check out this sample day. You've got oatmeal and peanut butter for breakfast, a whole wheat pita with chicken for lunch, and you could even have a healthier version of chicken parmesan for dinner. See? It's not about depriving yourself. It's just about making smart, delicious swaps.
So here's the bottom line. The most important thing to remember is that diet is an incredibly powerful tool, and you're in the driver's seat. I absolutely love this quote from Amanda Stathos over at Johns Hopkins. It just nails the feeling of empowerment. Getting a PCOS diagnosis does not mean you're stuck with poor health for the rest of your life. Not at all. You have so much power here. The choices you make every single day can lead to huge changes. And that really brings us to our final question for you. It's not about changing your entire life in one day. That's just not realistic. It's about starting small. So think about it. What is one small, totally manageable change you can make to your plate today? Maybe it's just swapping white rice for brown rice at dinner, or tossing a handful of spinach into your smoothie. That one small step, that's where it all begins.